Okay, this is chapter 2, Vedic period. The culture of this period, why do we call it Vedic? Is because it is referred to as the Vedic culture. It is based on the Vedic text. Which books? Vedic text. This was the first ever books to be written down in the entire world. A few online websites and a few religions say that no, Vedic books were not first, our religious books were first, but majority of the world agrees that Vedic texts were one of the first ever books to be written down. Obviously, now you are also using books. I am also using a digital book, right? As time passes, you will also switch over to digital. An interesting understanding is what studies have shown. AI, I hope you know what is AI. Interesting studies have shown that in the next 15 years, there will be no screens. Screens will be outdated. People will have inbuilt specs which you can directly view. So, screen or a mobile phone will become outdated. Why am I telling you this? Yes. So why am I telling you this is because I'm telling you a part of evolution. This was also a part of evolution. इसके पहले everything used to be written and spoken orally. Generation to generation, you're passing on the entire book orally. Just imagine that means our ancestors had so much skill that they did not have to write things down, they could memorize it. Yeah, it has advantages and very has advantages and but just imagine you're passing down an entire book down through knowledge by just learning and saying. Now we don't do ability to learn. No, see, majority learning would be different, but majority were as per today's capabilities were much higher. They didn't have to go from one tuition to another tuition. They didn't have to do one subject to another subject. They had to just focus on something which they specialize. This now you're learning 10 subjects, right? वो time पे थोड़ी 10 subjects था वो time पे 1 या 2 ही था. So you are specializing in a particular type of Vedic text. So you are known for that. Today you're specializing in everything. Cricket, football, defender playing attacker, attacker playing defender. Right now, batsman is wicket keeping, wicket keeper has to do batting also, otherwise no place. Because that's how evolution happens. You need multiple roles to play. That time, not so much. But this was Vedic text. They were feeling cold, increase the temperature. Can you get up and there is manually up arrow. Yes, yes, we are yet not so digital. Up arrow, can you see? Make it 24, 27 if you. How much is it? Make it 27. Okay. What is that? 30? 24. Make it 27 for some time, then we'll bring it down. Okay, let's see this. Can you please mark this? This is called as the Vedic period because this was the time we are writing the Vedic scripts or texts. Underline that word Aryans. This race is called as the Aryan race. Early Vedic period from 1500 to 1000 BC. That's what the flow chart says, right? That's what you drew. Before this were the Harappan civilization. When the Harappan civilization declined, please look here on the screen. When the Harappan civilization declined, a new race came up called as the Aryan. ऐसा नहीं है. Please understand, very few teachers or very few people or very few books study this. During the Harappan phase, Aryans were there. Aryans were there, but Aryans were very small. Just like K. K is Parsi, right? Yeah. Very small. Very rich community. Right? Tatas and all very rich community, but very small. Only less than 1% of the world population. But same way here also, Aryan race was there. But as soon as the civilization of Harappa declined, Aryan race became more in number. They started taking over the place. No, you don't have. This date you have. You need to know that this phase is called as the early Vedic period, 1500 to 1000, and 1000 to 1500, 500, sorry, is called as the later Vedic. Between the 1000 to 500, please mark they found something called as iron, which helped them now settle near Yamuna and Ganga. So they could clear forest and now settle there. They learned it. Why, Anisha? Second part. Yes. They discovered iron and bronze. Bronze was there. They discovered iron. Iron was much. So regular fire. Yeah, but process melting of iron is not that. Please mark this again. You can put this down as repeated if you want. The early Vedic text, 1500 to 1000 BC. The Rig Veda is composed during this time. Later Vedic period, 1000 to 500, were the branches of the remaining Vedas and remaining Vedas and their branches came. Please understand your timeline goes backwards. 1500, then 0 BC, or 0, then 4. So here we are yet in the backward. Vedas are called as the storehouse of knowledge. Please mark important. Short. Jaguar car question. No? The social, economic, and political and religious aspects of life of that time came to be known from the Vedic literature. We come to know how they lived, what was their society, what was their economy, what was their religion, and thus Vedas became a storehouse of knowledge. Everything today, whatever our society is based on the Vedas. Which language? Please mark MCQ. Vedas were written in Sanskrit. Ved means knowledge. Yes. One oldest language. But as time passes, as I said, evolution, Sanskrit is now becoming a little extinct. Not everybody knows Sanskrit. But your Vedas were written in Sanskrit. As time passes, languages do become extinct. Vedic literature is divided into two, Shruti and Smriti. Shruti and Smriti. Please mark what was Shruti. Shruti was revealed to the sages by the gods. They say Shruti was told to the sages by gods. Please mark it was passed down orally. Knowledge was passed down orally. You just imagine God is teaching you and Obviously, God's abilities and the way sages' abilities at that time was very high. So they didn't need to write it down. They could memorize it orally. Smriti was composed by the rishis. Smritis were when they started writing it down. Rishis are the sages only, but now gods have left the earth, and now people are there, so people don't remember so much, so they start writing. It's basically the same teachings which you and I are learning, but these are oral, these are right. Same. But ye mainly speaks about a little of Hindu culture. Because India में came was Hindu. War is happening. Iran. Iran में mainly the other religions came. Jerusalem and all. Right? Whereas Zoroastrian was one of them which came from those parts of the world. So that's why Muslims and all came from those parts. India में क्या है? India में Hinduism. Christianity came from Europe. Categories. Four Vedas. Please mark the names. Rig, Yajur, Atharva, Sama. And then the next parts were written the Brahmanas, Aryakas, and Upanishads. So the first, the Vedas were written, then the Brahmanas, Aryakas, and Upanishads. Let's see the Vedas. Very important. Please mark short. Rig Veda. Now the story of the Rig Veda is very different. The Rig Veda. Can you see here? If I circle this, you'll understand. This Rig Veda was itself taken. They took 500 years to write the Rig. It is considered by many the first book on the earth. They took 500 years to write the Rig Veda. Then look here, the remaining books, Yajur, Atharvas, Sama, Brahmanas, Aryankas, Upanishads were written in the next 500. So if you compare first 500 years, only one book. Next 500 years, everything. That means the Rig Veda is considered as, please mark, first testament of mankind. First testament means first book of mankind. Amino? Sorry? He is not blue, he is क्या बोलते हैं? Good question. Is the blue is dark in color, mainly. No, he's a little on the darker side of the. Yes. So at that time they used to represent it by showing in blue. They say all your gods which were there, Krishna, Rama, and all were all not blue. They were a little on the darker side of the skin. So in books they were represented through pictures which were blue. Okay, first testament of mankind. Please mark here, please underline those numbers and write. They were dedicated by the sages to the gods. They were passed on orally from teachers to disciples. Just imagine I'm teaching you everything orally without a book in hand. It become very. We are not used to that. From childhood, you're used to books in hand. They were not used to books in hand. And the last one, the most famous Gayatri mantra comes from the Rig Veda. Confirm the Rig Veda. Did you mark those 1, 2, 3, 4? The other Vedas are very small. Please write SSS. Sama Veda is sweet songs. These were the sweet songs, Sama. These were usually sung at the time of sacrifice. Anybody seen Bahubali movie? When they should, if you see a little in detail, you not seen Bahubali? 1000 crore का movie नहीं देखा? You've not seen Bahubali? Okay, what the tradition at that time was, that's what they show you in the movie also, is that when you went for any kind of war or any kind of puja used to happen, you had to do a sacrifice. So at that time, they used to sing from the Samaveda, sacrifice of an animal or any kind of sacrifice which is there. Usually, it was an animal which was sacrificed for God in order to show that this is given to you. And they used to sing from the songs which were written in the Sama. So SSS. Sama means sweet, and sweet means sacrifice. Basically, you're sacrificing someone to God in order to ask God that please give us victory. That's what the Sama means. Confirm. Yajurveda, please mark Y. Y for Yajur, Y for Yajna. This was Yajna. Look here. Yajna means a puja. So when you do a puja, when a priest reads out, it is Yajna. As you go ahead in timeline, understand, see these things the books will not tell you, but it is important for you to understand them. As you will go ahead in the timeline, you will see that yajnas became very important in India. Child is born, do yajna. Person is dead, do yajna. Want to get married, do yajna. Want to have good marks, do yajna. Buy a new house, do yajna. As you see things go ahead, yajna means pujas became important. Results in corruption. Results in chapter 3, the birth of Jainism. And are you understanding? See, it is a cycle. I'm not saying that they are corrupt or something. At this moment of time, the book is written. Then people started taking the book very, very seriously. In India, that's how the flow of history happens. Corruption increased, hence gave birth to Jainism, and that is my chapter. Last one, Atharva Veda. Atharva Veda contains all the songs related to magic and charm. Magic and charm. They speak about, please mark, Gyan. Gyan means knowledge, Karma means action, and Upasana means invocation. Some of these songs are also used as medicine, deal with medicines for treatment. What is invocation? How do we put it? One second. Can't remember the correct word. The act of helping. Introducing you to Brahmanas. After the Vedas came the Brahmanas. Please mark, they were simple commentary in prose. Please mark that first line. Simple commentary in prose. Do you have English literature? Or you have a prose story? So the Brahmanas were simple commentary of the Vedas in story form. Now they are writing the same thing but in different stories and methodologies. Yes, it can be fantastic. Each Veda had several Brahmanas. So Kabir, as a sage, will write his own Brahmana. He will write his own Brahmana. The format is the same. The moral of the story is the Same, but only the examples are written prose form, different. Then came Aryankas. Aryankas were a book for the forest people. Please circle that. So everybody is writing a book right now. The main theme is now what? Writing a book. So everybody is writing a book. So the hermits, that is the people who live in the forest, said, I also want a book for myself. So they also started writing a book. The hermits, please underline, and the students living in the forest also wrote they wrote the Aryankas. Good book. It's slowly getting past. Like, for example, very good question. Do I know full AI? No. Do you know full AI? No. No. Eventually, you learn little and gets faster, right? You understand? So, same way. That at that time, this was the AI which is getting faster. The skill. And last one, Upanishads. They are also commentaries of the Vedas. Their main teachings were karma, moksha, and maya. The Upanishads form the basic source of Indian philosophy. Please mark examples. The famous names of Upanishads have been given in your syllabus. You need to learn the examples. Chandogya Upanishad, Kena Upanishad, Taittiriya Upanishad. These are some Upanishads which were written. Some more books came after that. Vedankas. Please mark. They deal with Vedas. They teach you how the Vedas are to be chanted. Please circle that box that word. They teach you how the Vedas are to be chanted. They teach you grammar, pronunciation, etymology, and astronomy. Entomology was the study of, for insects. Then the book came called as Sutras. Sutras were three types of sutras. Please circle the name. Krausta Sutra, Grayasta Sutra, and Dharma Sutra. Three types of sutras. So if you want, you can make arrow like this. Three sutras, Shastra, Grihastra, and Dharma. And the last three, Upavedas. Up means sub. Please write there. Up means sub. SUB, sub part. Up means sub part. So they were the sub part of the Vedas, also called as subsidiary Vedas. We can add one right there. Up means the sub part. How you have a chapter divided into sub parts, like that, Vedas were divided into Upavedas or subsidiary. Examples, please mark. Ayurveda, Patanjali. Patanjali company makes all Ayurvedic products, majority. Dhanurveda was the second one, which taught you art of warfare. Gandharva Veda was related to music, and Shilpa Veda was related to architecture. So Upavedas were four Upavedas. Four Upavedas in our syllabus ka examples. Last one, Darshanas were Shat Darshan. Shat means six. These were the six subjects which were there. Which are the subjects? Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Sankhya, Yoga, Mimamsa, and Uttar Mimamsa. Nyaya means law. Vaisheshika means science. Sankhya means mathematics. Yoga means spirituality. And Uttar Mimamsa means religion. Please circle that. Uttar Mimamsa means law. Vaisheshika means Sankhya, Yoga, Mimamsa, and Uttar Mimamsa. Nyaya means law. Sankhya means math. Yoga means yoga. Mimamsa and Uttar Mimamsa means study of self. Dharma Shastra were the law books. It spoke about the caste system. And last one was the Astadhyayi, that was the Sanskrit grammar book by Panini. The author was Panini, and it was a Sanskrit grammar. How you have English made? Do you know the Renan Martin and all, which teaches you the English words? Where say this was a Sanskrit grammar book called as the Astadhyayi. It taught you every origin of the word. It taught you the words ka context, origin, how to convert a verb into an adverb, everything. More than that. Yeah. Let's do the epics. So we have two great epics in our history: the Ramayana and the Mahabharata. Please mark Ramayana and the Mahabharata. Please underline Ramayana in Sanskrit. By whom? Maharishi Valmiki. Who wrote the Sanskrit version? Maharishi Valmiki. Mahabharata, written by Vyasa. Which language again? Sanskrit. Sure. Originally, Mahabharata was called as Jaya. Jaya means collection of victory. And why do we call it Jaya? Because it was a story of the descendants of Bharat. And hence, eventually, this book on Vedic literature came to be known as Mahabharata. So, first, it was, if you want to write the flowchart, first, this was called as Jaya. Then Bharat. And finally, Mahabharata. Jaya means victory. And Bharat was the main king. His descendants' ka story came to be known as Mahabharata. Can I go ahead? The Bhagavad Gita is a part of the Mahabharata. What is the job of the Bhagavad Gita? The Bhagavad Gita teaches you teachings of Krishna, that is, any self-mind conflict with duty. If there is a conflict between your self-mind and duty, who should you choose and how should you choose? It teaches you the soul is immortal. Sorry. The soul is immortal. Last few answers. This is short. What do the epics teach you? What are the importance of the epics? Short. Please bracket those terms. They teach you social and cultural organization of the epic age. At that time, how society was. Anybody knows Ramayana story? Ramayana story happened why? Because Lord Ram went to, he was exiled for 14 years. Why did Lord Ram be exiled for 14 years? Because his father had given a promise. His father had given a promise. I'll give you a promise. Whatever you ask, I'll give you. Exactly. But the story, he's right. But my point to put across the story is father said you have to go to live in exile for 14 years. It teaches you how you listen to family values. Father says go for 14 years. Your I believe mom tells you to study every day. Do you? Majority. Certain days, no. Right? Sunday should be what? No? I'm just giving an example. But their father said go for exile for 14 years, no questions asked. That is the importance of the Vedic teaches. How at that time, how important was someone's word later. Kshatriyas were entrusted with the defense of the kingdom. Please mark who were Kshatriyas. Kshatriyas were the kings. Epics are considered fine literary works. Don't disturb him when he's spreading up. High ideals of family life of the Aryans. High moral principles which were there in them. And the Bhagavad Gita elaborates the karma philosophy. Karma philosophy means if you do good, you get good. If you do bad, you get. Last part of the chapter, the discovery of the iron came in 1000 BC, which shifted the era from early Vedic period to later Vedic. The shift came because they found something called as iron. Why? Because iron, please mark advantages of iron. Iron was a harder metal. It was cheap and easily available. Iron deposits were largely available. So man could use it for their easy livelihood. Perfect. Unlike copper and bronze were much expensive and limited. Iron was easily available. That's why they could make iron weapons. Iron. Here, look around everywhere. You can see iron in it. Everywhere. You're sitting on iron. Yes. Your technology has iron. Screens have iron. Iron. Your buildings have iron rods. Iron industry is there everywhere. I teach that in 10th grade in detail. Iron is everywhere. Every particular thing has iron, majority. Junk. Iron industry, manufacturing of iron and steel. Iron. Very good. Backbone. Where was iron used? Please mark iron at that time. Now that we are learning Vedic period, iron was used in agriculture. What they used to make, please mark, they used to make iron plows, sickles, hoes, which were used to grow rice, wheat, barley, vegetables. Iron was used to make occupation may saws, chisels, hammer, nails, and tongs, which were used in weaving, spinning, carpentry, and iron was used in defense as armors and shields. So, which were the three industries iron was used? Agriculture, occupation, and defense. And this marked the shift from early to later because iron was now available to everybody abundantly. Pottery, there were two types of pottery, grayware. Please mark where was grayware pottery found and painted grayware, which was found in Punjab and Haryana. I'm showing you photo of that type of pottery. Please look here, grayware and painted grayware. This is grayware pottery. Yeah. Spain. थोड़ा change करना printing. Please check. This is grayware. Mouths were open, no designs on them, simple and straightforward. Painted grayware, the name itself tells you, thoda painting will be there on them, designs. They were mainly found in North India, Punjab and Haryana, and their date and time gives you the same time when the Rig Veda was written. So they say during the Rig Veda, they used to use this type of pottery. And then came finally last type. First to see the characteristics of PGW, painted grayware. As you saw, it is fine, smooth, and evenly colored. It was very smooth, evenly colored. Quality of clay was good with geometric patterns painted in black on them. See this geometric pattern, this was on them black. They were usually open, bold, and mouthed dishes. Open mouthed bowls and dishes. Look, their mouth is open, big mouths. These are all painted grey. One more on the screen of painted grey. Open mouth. Northern black polished ware. This was hello five. Northern black polished ware was the glossy and the shiny. It was used by the upper class of the economic people. And the final one, short, then you can go. A total of 10 statements. Each will do 2 and then you can go. Early Vedic life and later Vedic life, our life changed. Yes, Devan, do the first one. Family was basic, joint. Perfect. Basic unit, now you are into joint family. Women status, point number 2. Devan, yes. यहाँ पर equal rights था. Here what happened? Later, decline in the women rights. Earlier, women were equal. In the early Vedic period, later Vedic period, women's rights became less. Status became less because men became more active in writing and knowledge. Early May, later May, they are system. Aradhya, 3 and 4. So here the caste system was not very much. Why? Because everybody is passing on knowledge orally. Now, as soon as you write, if your book is superior than mine, then you will be superior to. Caste system was not rigid, caste system became rigid. Point number 4. Education was enlarged. Gurukul system was at that time how during this. Yeah, you had to stay at the. It was like hostel time. When you had to stay with the till the age of 14 to 20, you had to up to 14, sometimes 18 also, you have to stay with the guru. That was hostel type of teaching. And you have to do everything there. Yeah. It's like your house only, but you're living in all pupils used to live together with the teacher. Yeah, boys were allowed. Consumption of meat was reduced, rice became staples. Rice became staple. Why? Because they found iron. Iron allowed them to do agriculture. Sickles and all allowed them to do agriculture. Plowing. One more. Religion became more complex. Amma and Krishna are as Incarnation. Perfect. Earlier they used to pray to nature, fire, sky, rain. Now they pray to Rama, Krishna, their incarnations, Vishnu, Shiva, and all. Now they pray to books which were written about. Right? Gita is a holy book. Bible is a holy book. Obviously, Bible is not spoken about here. But as you go ahead, Renaissance and all, you start there. Next one.
Absence of temples and idols, things for charges in the open, worship of forefathers and peaceful life after death.
2 minutes back. Continue. Earlier, there were no temples in the first early Vedic period, no idols, nothing. Later Vedic period, all this came in, temples became important, yajnas became important because everything is now written down. Knowledge spread far and wide. Last two. Economy, in the beginning, the main occupation was animals. Agriculture was secondary. यहाँ पर vice versa, what has come into the picture? Give me 5 minutes, I'll call you inside. Agriculture becomes more this, and animals were continue to be domesticated. Agriculture becomes prevalent. Cattle was important. Now land becomes important. Why land? Because land will do agriculture. Can you circle those words, please? Animals, secondary, important is cattle, your agriculture. Final point for the day. Many engaged in trade and commerce in the early Vedic period, dyeing, embroidery, carpentry, weaving, and so on. Trader guilds were formed. Please mark the word guilds. Guilds means group. Groups. In simple words, groups. So you will be a part of a group now. For example, all physicians were one guild. All musicians were now one guild. And all professionals were one other type of. Basically, professionals got divided. Why? Because everything is noted down. Everything has in writing format. Knowledge is now spreading far and this finishes your chapter of Vedic.